There we go. Here we are. Hello, Sharmita. Hello, Nihal. Hello, Nushad. All right, the show has started. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to everyone on Twitter Space. If you guys want to jump in on YouTube, feel free to do so. But, as always, we are broadcasting in a couple of places at once. Is sound okay? Is everything okay? All right, cool. That sound, yeah? Sorry, I think I had muted myself. Right, let's start off today's show with a little bit of update on all the stuff that's been going on in our DAO, Nifty Dreams DAO. And as you know, I am the community and marketing lead, so I would really be speaking about both of these things. I want to go through the newsletter because that's how I like to do it. There are no other new updates from my side apart from what's there on the newsletter. And that's only because we have drafted the newsletter so well with the help of Teomia. She attends all the spaces, she attends all the town halls and reads all the articles so that we don't have to. So all of that is concise and put nicely on this letter. One of the greatest things that happened over the past couple of weeks is, as you can see, the title of last week's newsletter is Freedom Will Always Win. So since the beginning of the Iran unrest, we have, you guys know that we have been supporting artists in multiple ways. And one of the things that we recently launched with the help of a couple of developers whose names we can't reveal at the moment is the free VPN service. Now, the free VPN service actually allows us to give artists, uh, or help artists get their voice back. As you know, the blockage of internet is happening in the country, and it has inflicted a lot of pain. But right now, the Nifty Dreams DAO Freedom Connect VPN allows internet access to 2,000 dreamers for up to 3 months. And as what we know from the latest updates, already 300 people have taken advantage of this VPN service. One of them is our newly joined ambassador for the Iran region. So I'm pretty excited about that. And I think this is really walking the talk. I mean, like minting tokens, benefactors. We've got like all these projects that we have concurrently, but we have something that is actioned right now for people in the real world, and that is amazing. Now, the second stuff that I wanted to share with you guys is definitely what has been earning a lot of hype and vibe is Nick's announcement of covering his Tesla with art. And he recently posted a picture, actually a video of himself sat in his Tesla asking if he should actually announce a prize where the winning artist could possibly join him in San Francisco. Now, I sat to Nick in his car, and he has taken me for a drive around San Francisco, and it was super fun. It is a great city to drive around, so I have no idea who is this artist who's going to win this contest. But what you have to do is, well, the contest hasn't been announced yet because it's still quotes and technical specifications. But once that is done, you'll possibly announce the contest like end of the year. Yeah, watch out for that. So that is something else that's exciting. I think the most exciting thing that we are all waiting for, and this happening in 3 days, is the Nifty D token drop. The Nifty D token has, some of the most. I think everyone knows that the Nifty D token is created to give artists freedom, and part of having freedom is making sure that you have the token, one token that aligns the incentives of artists and everyone in the global art ecosystem, and nothing like that exists up till now. So there are 3 stages to the token drop, where let me just enlarge this for a second because it's a beautiful infographic that's done by Nushat, who is here with us on this Dreamer download call as well. So what happens over here is the Nifty D token on 3rd of December will get airdrop, and this is a ERC20 token. So you've got two types of tokens: the granted tokens and the earned tokens. The granted tokens, I know that you guys, a lot of people have minted the Nifty D, the Dreamer passes in the beginning. You guys have a set of granted tokens, and these granted tokens will be locked for like a year, invested for 24 months. But then the earned tokens are the tokens that contributors, volunteers, and people who have been working in the DAO would be getting. And there's no lock and no vesting for these. So that's the stage one. The stage two really focuses on liquidity. So let's say we've got like the moment that Nifty Dreams gets $500,000 secured, we would start announcing liquidity and ballparking each token to be valued between 20 to 25 cents. So that's stage two. And stage three is the staking part of stuff. All that information is there. I'm not going to repeat it, but it's all there in the newsletter. So just go through it and get all the updates. I think this is an important update, which is the recent events about the FTX, right? That has really caused a bit of depression in the market and in mindsets of people. So we have started to ease expectations a little bit. We initially had a $5 million target in terms of raising capital. We've reduced that to $3.5 million. So that's the update over there as well. Lots of exciting stuff that's going on in Argentina, in South America. Really cool stuff. The Lubbock Conference 2022 is all about gathering artists and also empowering native artists, right? So Grant Shako has been working with a lot of new artists, and one of them is Yudasaka. I would believe that's how I pronounce his name, but Yudasaka on Instagram and on Twitter. He created this like AR video thing. So you basically go to the booth and you pick your phone and you use the Instagram like stories. And you have this AR feature and you can interact in the space, and that attracted a lot of crowd. So that was pretty exciting. And one of the winners of our Nifty Dreams DAO, Da Vinci Fun, TKNAR also did great like a storytelling session, and they had posted pictures and all of that stuff on Twitter. Updates on Project Diverge. The template making is in process. So what's happening right now is our developers and our designers are actually working on the sneaker templates, Diverge sneaker templates. And there would also be kind of like when you go into the website, you would be able to upload your art as pieces, like different parts of the shoe. So it's not just one art, right? Because the shoe, when it's 3D, it's got the sides, you got a cover, and then the front part, and then the laces, and the back part, and everything. So they're sectioning the template in such a way that it will make it easy for artists to upload their artwork to cover the entire sneaker, and you can actually see it in a 3D model as well. So, you can see how good an amazing sneaker looks. And once that is done, we'll have our jury team select 25 artists, and that would be the first 25 sneakers that would be released. And some cool pictures of Aishwarya over here. She, I don't know, a lot of people, you guys know if Aishwarya is a diver. She's a free diver. So not a scuba diver, a free diver. So you can see in these pictures over here, she's not wearing her tank and stuff like that. I used to free dive as well. So I'm pretty jealous when I see these pictures, because free diving is all about diving underwater without any equipment. And it's the most surreal experience. Like this, I don't know whether we would have truly experienced silence if we never free dived. Really, that's how I feel. Because you are underwater, like 10 meters or 15 meters underwater, right? And you don't even hear the bubbles because there's no scuba tank. So some people can say, well, you're never truly silent because you would hear your own. You can't, first of all, you're not breathing, you're holding your breath, so you can't hear your breathing. And you can't hear your heartbeat as well. Because when you're free diving, some of the techniques that they teach you before you dive is to reduce your heart rate so that you can hold your breath for long. So imagine that you cannot hear the sound of the world, fishes are not noisy, you don't hear bubbles, you don't hear your own breathing or your heartbeat. I mean, that's just silence, like surreal silence. And I loved it. And that was the reason I picked up free diving. And I'm pretty excited that Ashwarya is doing that right now, or Talasosmi, if you guys know her on Discord. That's a handle, but that's what she's doing in Bali. So yeah, we've got quite a diverse team, of exciting people who are part of the Nifty Dreams team, the guild. That is pretty much it with terms of all the updates and everything else. You guys know we've got founders town hall every week on Monday. This week we didn't have it because Nick was on the flight to Dubai. On 3rd of December is the token drop. We might be having an online event to celebrate the token drop, but the IRL event, the on-ground event, will be happening on the 5th of December. So yeah, that is the plan right now. And you're with me on Wednesday on the DAOnload. And then we also have Discord community meetings. I like to call them like office hours, because I'm just sat there and I'm signed into Discord on the voice channel and working. I'm pretty much like scheduling posts or working with Tio or working with Nushad, working with the rest of the community and marketing guild to kind of finalize a lot of stuff and campaigns. And if you want to listen in on how we work and our strategizing, our brainstorming sessions, feel free to pop in, because that's what the office hours are all about. We also have obviously our ambassadors join in, and we try to hash out any issues or challenges that we have, schedule upcoming spaces. So tons of stuff happens during those office hours. And yeah, these are the stuff that I want to tell you guys about. I think another reminder I wanted to also share is, if you guys know of any galleries, art galleries, who might want to partner with Nifty Dreams DAO, want to join in as benefactors, investors, please do reach out to myself, Eddie, or Nick. And yeah, we're on a mission. We are working together on a mission to reshape the future. So I just wanted to remind you guys about that. And what are these notifications? Look, we've got 5 new notifications. And oh yeah, we've got like tons of people who have started following our newsletter on Medium more than ever before, which is pretty exciting. So these people, whoever are following us on Medium, will get the updates right to their mailboxes. So I'm excited about that. Okay, so that's 17 minutes in. Are you guys still with me? Drop me a heart, drop me a hello, or drop me any kind of emoji, or if you're with me on YouTube, drop me a comment so that I know you guys are here. Oh, thank you so much for the hearts. Okay, let's get the next part, which is my favorite part of the day, is where I share something interesting that I have learned or something that I practice in my life. And I've worked with creators and creatives since I started working when I was 18. So I started working as a television producer back in Singapore. And since then I've been working with video editors, designers, cameramen, sound engineers. That was for a good 5-6 years before I started working for the radio. And again, I started working for radio presenters and marketers, sound engineers. And then I went into advertising, working with animators and designers, right? So I've always been working with creatives for a very long time. And I believe that creatives are not just interesting, working with them is challenging, because they do not have a set of rules, and creatives hate rules. But one of the things that creatives do struggle with is they do not like to ship out stuff. What I mean by shipping out stuff, I think this is a very developer term. Shipping out stuff is, it's like you work on something, but then you do not finalize it. Like there's version 1, version 2, version 3, and then you keep looking at it and you want to like finesse it a little bit more. You want to better it. You want to make it, more interesting. You find some mistakes. You critique yourself, and you go on and do that over and over again until you don't release stuff. You don't release it. You don't publish it. You don't ship it. And that's a problem that creators always have, because a lot of them are perfectionists. Hands up or heart, or give me some kind of emoji, or say yes or something on the YouTube comments if you agree. Like, creators procrastinate. Yeah, they do. But more than that, what they also do is they don't launch things as quickly as they should, because they're always trying to make things better. And I think this perfectionism is something that affects all of us, because we are our worst critics. And people around us would be like, what are you talking about? What's wrong with you? This is looking great. This looks amazing. But then we still don't have the confidence to ship it. So I'm going to give you a little presentation today, some stuff that I have put together. And I'm going to tell you that it doesn't look very pretty, because I did not have a lot of time to work it. So Sharmita is saying that she doesn't procrastinate, but perfectionism is killing me. That's what Sharmita is saying. Nushad is saying yes, he is a perfectionist as well. Hi Pari, I see you on Twitter. Thank you so much for the blue heart. So yeah, let's. Why don't we have a special campaign for token dropping day? Yeah, we can have a special campaign, Nushad. Shall we discuss about that on Discord in a bit? Let's do that, shall we? All right. So let me get to my beautiful keynote. It's not that beautiful, but it's okay. Oh yeah, people on Twitter, you guys are going to be missing out on stuff, but it's fine. I'll try to talk you through. Here we go. Okay, so I drew a graph for you guys. This is what happens actually when you are a creator. Now, I want to say that I took a lot of stuff for a material for today's presentation from Seth Godin's book called Linchpin, which I have been reading. So today's presentation is a lot of like my experience, as well as a lot of tips from Seth Godin as well. And this graph is from his book, but I drew it. So this is basically the creator graph, right? So when you look at it, the x-axis, I think this, hang on, is that the X or the Y? I can't believe the vertical axis, if it's quality, and then the horizontal axis is effort, you realize that, okay, when quality is low and you have not have time to put in on the work, then pretty much whatever they're going to create is shitty, it's going to be junk, right? But as time progresses, you realize that this graph kind of goes up and then starts curving this way a little bit. So this is when you're close to perfect. What that means is, as time goes by, your perfection is not going to increase this way upwards. It would possibly only increase like in very, very little and intricate amounts. So this is, you will always achieve this close to perfect state, and it's never going to be 100% perfect. So I want people to remember that nothing is ever going to be 100% perfect. It's always going to be very close to perfect. So that takes away anxiety a little bit. Yeah, and that's just the law of creators. That's the law of creating. Now, art is never defect free. If you look at some of the best arts in the world, they are never perfect. If they are like perfect, we are talking about like maybe if it's computer generated, but I don't think anything in the world is perfect at all. But people put a lot of focus on perfectionism because people are hired to be perfect. What do I mean by that? Tomorrow, if you want to join an organization, they ask you to send a resume, they ask you to send a CV, and no matter how good you have been at your job, in your CV, if you have made a couple of typos, that's what they are going to focus on. They are probably going to, like, ignore a lot of stuff that you had actually done and worked on. They are probably going to focus on that little teeny tiny mistake that you had done. And that is horrible because people hire for perfect people. People manage to make people perfect at their jobs. People measure for perfection. People are rewarded for being perfect. But if you know, creativity and art is never perfect, it is never defect free. So I would say that perfectionism itself is super, super overrated. Now, what happens when, artists always or creators always strive for perfectionism is this graph over here. So before we go into this graph, you can see this quote over here, right? Creativity is an instinct to produce. That's what creativity is. Who said that? Poet Bruce Ehret said that. What is creativity? The moment that you have that instinct to actually create something, to produce something, to keep producing something, that itself is creativity. So as long as you are creating, you are a creator. Okay, it's not about creating perfect work. It is about creating. First of all, it's about having the instinct, and second of all, it is about creating. But don't just create in your head. You got to create, and you have to release it. You got to create, and you got to publish it. You got to create, and you got to post it. You got to create, and you have to share it. Because if not, what happens is these three circles happen. There's the would have scenario. I would have done it. I could have done it. I should have done it. But when all of the circles come together at the spot over here is that you didn't do it. If you would have, could have, should have, you probably didn't do it. You did not have. You did not do it. So do not fall into this trap, because this little circle here, guys, is a trap that just often fall into. So yeah, I want to remind everybody to get out of this trap and just do it, publish it, and get your stuff out there. Don't let your work die in your head. That's what I said just now. If you wrote a blog, if you wrote a tweet, if you wrote an article, if you wrote some notes, if you didn't even write anything, you wrote bullet points, and you've been sitting on these bullet points for like a week now, it doesn't matter. Just hit the publish button, because that's what I did today. I did not have time to do a pretty presentation. I could have taken all of these stuff and I could have drawn like pretty pictures and changed my slide color and I don't know, put some images over there. I love doing all that. My logos and boxes, I love it. Like I love designing presentations. I love designing decks. Today I did not have time, and that's okay. I didn't do it. What I did instead was wrote this with my stylus and my iPad. I sketched it out, and I had all these thoughts that I wanted to share with you while I was walking my dog just now. And I thought about those things. I recorded it in my phone. And when I came back, I did not have time to open up my computer. I literally like wrote it out on my iPad, and that's what you're seeing right now. So it's okay if it looks ugly, because I know that you guys are not judging me. I know you guys are not like, oh my God, that's handwriting is so bad. No, but because the information is what matters, right? I hope so. I hope that's okay that I'm presenting it this way. But at the end of the day, the focus is to get the information out there. So if you wrote something and if you didn't have time to like draft it into a very beautiful structured way, it's fine. If you've been sitting on it for weeks and don't have the time, hit the publish button, because you know what happens if you don't? It will go stale. It would become irrelevant, and then you would never publish it. This happens to a lot of advertising and social media agencies I've worked for, because they keep talking about wanting to stay relevant, wanting to publish, like memes that are current, memes that are in the news. They want to publish content that's like in the now, but they keep thinking about it for a really long time. They keep wanting to perfect the artwork. They keep wanting to, like play around with the colors, and then what happens is they publish it a week later, and all their competitors have done it earlier than them. And yeah, that's it. It's irrelevant now, so much for wanting to be perfect. I think relevancy is more important than being perfect. If you did just first like a presentation, and you want to share an idea, show it to the team. You've collected 10 email addresses when you went to an event. Do not wait for anything. Do not wait to draft a long email. Just send them a hello. Just say that, hey, I met you at this event. It was nice meeting you. Hello. Sometimes just start the conversation like that. Don't wait to write a big ass, emailer or a newsletter to send it to them. You can do it a week later, but right now, just say the hello. If you thought of a clever analogy, if you thought of a clever idea, don't wait to produce it into a amazing design. Draw a little cartoon and publish it. The only purpose of starting is finishing. Let that sink in. The only purpose of starting is finishing. What good does it do if you do not finish your work, if you just start it? How many works have you started and never finished? Hey, say yes if you resonate with it. Say yeah, you understand. And if you resonate with that, let me know. Moving on to the next slide. This is why I say consistency beats perfection. Consistency is actually creating work, small bites of work every single day. It doesn't matter if they are perfect. I mean, who is perfect for anyway? Just keep creating, and keep creating without judgment, because we are our worst critiques. We are our worst judges. Keep creating without judgment. Keep creating without hassle. Keep creating without emergency. Keep creating without fear. And this is exactly how creators should keep creating. And the more we create without judgment, without hassle, without emergency, without time constraint, and without fear, the more we keep creating, and the more we become better creators, and we become better at doing what we do. And it's not about perfecting each and every single piece of work. It's about the bigger picture. It's about making sure that you are on track. It's about making sure that if your idea is to put up content on Twitter every single day, you don't have to draft every single content to perfection. Sometimes a simple GM works. Sometimes a simple picture works. Sometimes a simple reply works. Sometimes copying and pasting a quote from somewhere and putting it out there with the person's name works. And all of this does not take so much of effort, actually, if you think about it. But yeah, just make sure you keep creating without procrastination. I like what Shamaja is saying here. She says it's a perfect presentation because you're sharing something and at the same time showing examples. Thank you so much. I don't know if it's perfect. It's so funny that I today's Twitter space and presentation, it's about perfection. And then when I posted the graphic for today's space, I put the wrong time on the tweet. So yeah, mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes, but I'm glad that I at least put the tweet out there with the mistake, because you guys actually saw it. So it all turned out fine. But I just didn't have time to perfect stuff. So then we ask, what about quality? If we don't want to be perfect, then what about quality? Would quality not suffer? Now I tell you, there's a trick over here. Okay, you think about the quality when you start. Think how your produced work should be, like have a rough idea of it. And when you start working on it, like start it with a particular direction. And if you don't like it, trash it early. Trash it early on in the game. Do not finish the entire thing and then trash it, because if you trash it late, you would never publish it, you would never ship it. So before you write an article, write down bullet points, because it's easier to trash and restart the bullet points than actually trashing the article itself. Guys, this is like major basic learning from my experience, because I see a lot of creators stuck like that. I share it with a lot of designers that I work with as well, because they design like 3 graphics for me, and then there would be something wrong in all 3 of them, and then it's hard to trash it and restart it all over. But if you have a frame in mind that you want to share before you actually even produce the actual work, things are much easier, because a framework is actually easier to change than the finished copy. So always plan ahead. And I don't know, whatever industry you're working in, if it's writing, write bullet points first. If it's designing, do a sketch first. If you are an architect, don't build a house first. Like draw out the blueprint first, right? Because it's easier to crush the blueprint than to burn down the entire house. So keep that in mind. Do not stress yourself, okay? Thank you so much, Noshat, for loving my presentations. And this coming from a designer is really important for me. Thank you. Means a lot. All right, so let's go to the tips to be consistent right now. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to cover up a bunch of stuff over here, because I know that there's a lot of text here, and this is bad design, and I don't want you guys to look at all the text at once. So this is how I'm going to cover it up. All right. Okay, so let's start with the first tip. Start something that you really, 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 really want to start. Start something that you really, really want to start. If not, do not start it. And I think a few weeks ago during Dreamer Downloads, that actually gave you a little tip, a different tip about finding out whether you really want to start something, is asking yourself the why question 5 times. So ask yourself like 5 times, why do I want to start this artwork? Why do I want to do it that way? And make sure that you really want to do it. If you do not really want to do it, because a lot of us do it because someone else has done it and we want to compete. A lot of us do stuff because like, oh, it's trending right now, let's jump in on the bandwagon. A lot of us do stuff because, it's the in thing, why not? Or somebody told me to do so. Someone else is doing it. And those are wrong reasons to start, because you will lose motivation really, really quickly. If you start something that you don't really want to do, then you would lose motivation. And that is the reason for procrastination. And that is the reason why a lot of us don't finish the stuff that we started, because we never wanted to start them in the first place. Does this make sense? Give me a heart on Twitter Spaces if you guys are listening. Drop me a heart. If you're on YouTube right now, drop me a yes or whatever, so that I know that you guys are with me right now with whatever I'm saying. So that's the first thing. That's the first tip. Yeah, start something that you really want to start. The second one is, money seems to be a good motivation. Hey, Paul, I disagree with you right now, because if money was the only motivation, then you see a lot of people who earn a lot of money who are super, super unhappy. Money can be a very, I think, a short-term motivation. That could be your means goal. It's not your end goal. And you might keep producing stuff for money. I see a lot of creators working for advertising agencies and creating, but they don't really like what they're doing, because if you're only doing stuff that because you're getting paid for it, then maybe you might need to find a balance. You might find to do stuff that actually pays you. You might want to do stuff that actually it's soul filling for you. But the best way to do stuff is just keep doing what you think is right. So yeah, I got to disagree with you on that point, Paul. Very nice and wonderful presentation, very knowledgeable session. Thank you for sharing. Thank you so much, Pari. Let's go on to the next step right now. Don't be in competition with someone who is not in competition with you. I am telling this to myself because I like doing this. I'm a super competitive person, but who am I competing with? Like a lot of the times I compete with others, but I realize that they're not even in competition with me. So if you are trying to start something and finishing something just because you want to compete with someone and you want to do it quicker than someone else, um, don't do it, because you are not truthful to yourself, and more likely you would suffer from burnout and you cannot be consistent. I mean, how are you going to be consistent if you're burned out? Because you're going to get really tired, right? So it's just easier to take things in smaller chunks and doing things that you really want to do, and go from there. Today you are the better version of yourself from yesterday. That's all you need to know. Are you a teeny bit better than you are yesterday? Did you progress a teeny bit from yesterday? Did you write that extra sentence? Did you maybe cover like a little bit more above your painting? um, I don't know, whatever it is. Or did you take an extra photograph? Did you write 5 more tweets than you did yesterday? That's all that matters. And consistency is key over here. So you are only becoming the better version of yourself. And just remember that when you are creating stuff, you are not in competition with anyone. I love this one because this really works for me. If you are in the habit of writing diaries or blogging or whatever that you do, try to find out your most productive time. All of us are like different kinds of animals, and even different kinds of animals have different sort of times where they are most active in. You might be an owl and I might be a deer, and I know Nushat could be a peacock, and Sharmeta could be a dolphin, and we're all productive at different times of the day. Okay, we cannot all be productive at the same time, but it's important that you know what kind of animal you are and what times are you productive in. Like for me, it is between 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. in the morning. Those are my most productive hours. So if I want to get something done, I always schedule it those hours, and I block off my calendar so that nobody disturbs me during those times. And that when that happens, I'm more likely to finish what I had wanted to do. So that really helps me out. So find out which is your most productive time. So if you really have a task that you want to finish, if you really have a task that you need to do, try to do it in your most productive hours. Maybe it is at 4 a.m. in the morning before anybody woke up, because you like to focus in the silence. Or maybe it's right after your morning cup of coffee. It's right after your workout. Or maybe it's like 1 hour before lunch. I don't know, whatever it is. Just understand yourself, know yourself, and that will help you to be more consistent. I think I've got one more tip right now. Record your thoughts while you're not creating. So the creator mind doesn't just work while, like my mind at least, doesn't just work while I am in front of the computer. It doesn't just work when I am in front of the phone. And I know a lot of people, artists, they don't just work when they are in front of the canvas. A lot of the times they work when they are like their mind is thinking, when they are in the shower, or when they are walking, or when they are running, or when they are driving, or in their toileting. But it always helps if you leave like sketchbooks or notebooks in multiple places, or if you have a recording device that you turn on and you record your thoughts while you are not creating. So that means that the moment that you come back home or you get to your desk, you can immediately start using your thoughts and become a better creator, or have that consistency in creating. Or you can even create this kind of like a really bad presentation like I did, which is just written down, handwritten, but it's still creating. So that's what consistency is all about. Okay. And before I finish up, before I wrap up, I really wanted to wrap it up in half an hour, but I'm never able to do that in half an hour. I wanted to quickly show you something that I gathered as the designer mindset. Okay, this is like a little so my drawings are back, as you can see, because this is a little old sketch that I did. I published it on as a tweet. But when you are a designer, this is what they call the designer mindset. Great designers, and Nushat, correct me if I'm wrong, they don't just come up with one idea, they come up with many ideas, they come up with many options. They do not hurry the process. They love to brainstorm, they are very curious, and they do their best works. They produce the best works when they're enjoying themselves. They don't judge themselves prematurely, so they don't judge themselves harshly before even the work gets finished. They don't mind mess, because amazing ideas do come from mess a lot of the times. They think crazy, they try out many things, they ideate and broadly and wildly, and they love reframing framing problems. And if you look at designers all across the world, no matter what culture they're from, no matter what language they speak, no matter what they are designing, creators, they usually, they design this way. And what happens when they design this way is they let their mind like float around. So I think, as a finishing kind of comment for today, I would strongly suggest that one of the best ways to keep being consistent is not just come up with one idea, fixate on it, judge yourself strongly, and then crush it and throw it away. Do not do that, because that is why a lot of good ideas die. The better way to do it is create a lot of ideas. Let your mind free, let your mind float around, come up with as many options as possible, get wild, think crazy. And once you have lots of ideas on a piece of paper or on a drawing board, and then you start like hacking away at them little by little, and that would actually help you become more consistent and less perfect. And if you think about it, like, craziness and perfection do not sit on the same page. And that's all I wanted to say. And thank you so much for joining me on today's Dreamers Download. And if this had helped you in any way, I appreciate your comments. And if you'd like to share this video, please go ahead and share that as well. I appreciate that. So thank you so much, gang, for being with me. I would see you guys on Discord. Have a lovely evening or day, depending on where you're from. Thanks to everyone who's joined on Twitter as well. Cheers and have a good evening. Bye-bye.